The Downtown Rams podcast is brought to you by our proud sponsors, Rams on Demand, Seat Giant, Throwback Joe, and now our new sponsor, Kayvon Webster's new LA food truck, Vibe 305, from South Beach to Sunset. Hashtag catch a vibe. For more information, check out vibe305.com today. Now enjoy the show.
Juggles, caught. Oh, touchdown.
Sets up inside and Leonard Little forced to fumble. It's on the turf.
Everett. Goes deep. Touchdown to Willie Anderson. And he doesn't even stop. He's headed for the locker room. The Rams win it.
To Marshall. Fall to the 20. Fall at the 10. He's going to score.
Ferragamo with a lot of time. Phil Olsen, number 72. The first one don't get you, the other one will. Merlin kind of slowed him up back in the backfield. 10, Gabriel going deep for Maslowski. Touchdown. Here's the pitch to Dickerson outside to the left. He cuts it back into the end zone for the score. Adjusting for it is Isaac Bruce. And Isaac Bruce threads his way for a touchdown.
Steven Jackson in the end zone. Game over.
It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot. Mike Jones made the tackle. And the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
Welcome back, guys, to another Downtown Rams podcast, Throwback Thursday edition. I have former Rams quarterback and CFL superstar Dieter Brock. How's it going, man?
Going great, Jake.
That's great to hear, and I'm actually hearing about your you have a book coming out in October, the Birmingham Rifle, Dieter Brock. Before we get into everything, because I do have a lot of questions for you. You do have a pretty awesome career path and everything, so I just wanted to ask you a little bit about that book and see if you could take me and my listeners, through that whole thing.
Sure, Jake. This project started about 2 or 3 years ago, and I had a good friend of mine who was going to do the book along with my wife. They were both going to try to collaborate and do the book because I'd had a lot of people that were interested in my career, and the guy that was going to do it had a stroke, so I ended up getting there's a writer in Winnipeg, Manitoba by the name of Robert Young, and he's going to be doing the book, and it's going to be coming out in mid-October, and I'm really confident of Robert's writing ability. It should be a very interesting book, and some of the proceeds are going to the Never Alone Foundation about families suffering with cancer problems, and also, some of the proceeds are going to go to the CFL Alumni Association for players who are in financial need. So, really looking forward to this, and we hope it's going to be of interest to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I will definitely pick that up. I don't read often, but books that stand out to me, I grab them and I go as I go. So, here's the thing. That's coming out in October. As soon as that comes out, I will have a link. I'll have a bunch of links all over our, page and whatnot, and get people to go and grab that. Sound good?
Mm-hmm. That sounds great. That sounds very, very good.
Awesome. Yeah, because, Dieter, now, I don't know how, involved you are with social media and whatnot, but, for instance, there's a awesome Rams forum called Rams on Demand, and you got a lot of fans on there, a lot of fans. So, I think those, people in general, they'll be really interested to check that book out. I think, again, everyone has different paths to, getting to the league or just in life in general. But, what you were able to do, playing in the CFL and the NFL, it greatly intrigues me, and I'm sure it intrigues a lot of people as well. But before before I continue rambling on about that, we do have a lot to talk about, and in particular, I want to ask you, what made you want to play the game to begin with?
Well, I mean, I always just coming up. My older brother, he was about 16 months older than me, and I used to follow him around all the time. And he got involved in playing sports when we were about 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old, and so I started out playing baseball, and baseball was really the sport that I didn't play any other sport until I got to high school. I did go out for football 1 year when I was around 12 or so, and I didn't get the opportunity to throw the ball like I thought I was going to do because I wanted to play quarterback. And the first practice they just used me to do drills, and I said that's enough of football for me at that time. But then I got into football in high school and basketball, and I played all three sports throughout high school. And it's just something that that I always loved. I always loved sports, and basketball was really my favorite sport coming up through high school. I was a 3-year starter in high school, and I was the leading scorer. I scored close to 20 points a game throughout my career in high school, and at one point I hit 93 out of 100 free throws and 53 in a row. So I was a pretty good shooter, and I had some interest from some colleges about basketball, but it was, my throwing of the football that actually is what I really love to do more than anything. So football became my number one sport.
And did anyone in particular stand out as like an inspiration to play the quarterback position?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was a tremendous Joe Namath fan growing up, through my high school years, especially when Joe had, come through the University of Alabama and then became a quarterback for the New York Jets. And so I was just amazed, to watch him play and throw the football. And I kind of wanted to, model myself after Namath because I really loved the way he threw the football.
That's pretty fun because you both ended up playing for the Rams. You went to Auburn University. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You went to Auburn University, and you end up graduating from Jacksonville State University. What was that whole process like?
Well, I signed with Auburn late. I initially had signed with Georgia Tech, and they go back even further. I wanted to go to the University of Alabama, but I had hurt my knee the spring game right before my senior season, and right after I hurt my knee, I mean, I had been receiving a lot of interest from Alabama, but after that injury, I never really heard from them again. They must have thought it was going to be something that was going to be affect me or whatever. But anyway, Georgia Tech ended up offering me a scholarship, and I signed with them initially. And I didn't have a high enough score to get in. I had a high enough score to get into any of the SEC schools, but they wanted me to take the test again to get eligible. And Auburn came in late and offered me their final scholarship, and so I ended up signing with Auburn. And of course, Auburn had Pat Sullivan, who ended up becoming the Heisman Trophy winner, and he was actually just 1 year ahead of me. But I didn't really think about it at that time. I mean, I just thought I was, a good enough quarterback that I would get an opportunity and let it go at that. But when I went to Auburn, Sullivan was already established, and there was no way, no matter how good I was or anybody else, I mean, he was going to be the quarterback until he graduated. And I understand that, but I wanted to play more. And when I did get in, I wanted to be able to do something. I wanted to be able to throw the football. And I never really got a whole lot of opportunity at the time that that he was there to really do a whole lot. And on top of that, I had some. I was kind of lonely there because I didn't really, have any, friends there, and it became a struggle for me, just kind of staying there. So I ended up transferring to Jacksonville State and finish up there.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. You went to two different colleges. I actually interviewed someone from Jacksonville State when I was in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the players there, but Saran Neal, who just entered the league, I think he got drafted by the Buffalo Bills in, I think, the 5th round. So that name, Jacksonville State, that really jumps out to me for that reason. I think they've started to put together a nice program, and I think there's a lot of young, talented defensive players that are really coming into the league now. So they're definitely a school to watch as more and more talents keep on coming in. But with that being said, you go to the CFL, and I mean you end up breaking the record for single season passing yards that was held until since the 50s. After basically coming in as a backup, trying to you basically force Winnipeg's hands, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' hand. Trade away, they trade away their star quarterback that's aging, but they trade away the guy that they traded, to their star quarterback to get, originally Chuck Easley, because, you forced their hand and they basically traded both of them away. You were quite simply dominating the league. Were NFL teams calling at this time?
Well, no, Jake, they really weren't. I mean, after I had signed with Winnipeg, and I should go back. I actually signed with Winnipeg before the NFL draft. They had initially offered me a contract about a month or so before the NFL draft, and this is also the time when the World Football League was coming out, and the World Football League had like a draft of, and I think they drafted like 10 quarterbacks, and I wasn't one of them. And then Winnipeg came back in the picture and offered their offer that they had, initially offered, and so I decided that my best bet might be to go to Canada and see what I could do up there for a year or so, and then maybe come back to the NFL. In retrospect, I should have waited. I probably should have waited to the NFL draft, but I'm not complaining because I really loved my time in Winnipeg, and it was the best time of my career, obviously. But signing with Winnipeg and getting an opportunity to play up there was awesome, and it was there was a lot of good years there in Winnipeg.
Yeah, you ended up getting put into their Ring of Honor, so that's really cool. And the crazy thing to me is, back-to-back most outstanding player awards. You're the only one to do that, and then shortly after your trade to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I mean you were with the Blue Bombers, from the time you entered in 1974 to 1983 when you were traded. I mean, what did it feel like to go to another team? After spending all those years and having that first team that gave you the opportunity?
Well, I didn't like it. I didn't want to do that, and I should go back again and we talk about the back-to-back MOPs in 80 and 81. There was, the 81 season. I had an opportunity. If I would have played the whole last game of the season, I would have become the first quarterback in professional football history to throw for 5,000 yards. I think Warren Moon did it in 1982, the next year. So, and you say, about, dominating the league. There was like 6 Hall of Fame quarterbacks that were playing, CFL Hall of Fame quarterbacks that were playing at the time that I was playing in Winnipeg from like when I became a starter, a full-time starter in 1976, until I left